Shalom, Yashala. Fairly quick video giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops. A great millstone, much salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect, most high will, to hopefully extend the elect, Shalom blessings. It's 800,000 to over 1,000 people in Iran that are Afro-Iranians. And our people are scattered everywhere. Let me give you some pictures. And definitely Jake. And it's you can see some of the titles on some of these pictures. The African diaspora, Iran. Then you got the Moors over here. Picture of the Moors, but it says Afro-Iranians. So we were there, and beautiful women in Iran that are our women. So, the black woman, she got to remember that too. That the black woman in America is not the only woman of our people, man. Should, definitely Jake. Little dude. Look like he from, he could be from Compton or something, man. Shout out to my brothers and all brothers. Another picture. So when they do stuff, when they make moves against Iran and other places, our people are there. So they, and the core of, who the Most High loving the apple of his eye, of course, is the elect. But even as a nation, we're the apple of his eye. He loves Israel, and that's why even 2/3 are going to be brought back into the kingdom. Another little young Jake talks by here if you highlight it. Iran's forgotten race, Afro-Iranians, man. And we're always an outcast among these people, among the nations. Here's some other little kids. So, if our people think it's weird and all that, we're the people from the East anyway. But if our people think it's weird covering their heads, with our women and, wearing dresses, that was what y'all were doing back then. But y'all were rebelling back then too. So it's nothing new under the sun. But that's the natural customs of our people. I don't understand. Jake is weird about that, man. These are normal customs and of a lot of them other nations. We are the form of all things. That's what it says about us. Empowering Black Iranians to tell their stories. Pretty women. So we're everywhere, That's why a lot of times it's an uproar too, because Jake really don't play, man. Jake has to get paid. He has to get decent housing. He can't. He has a, so to speak, image or representation to consider, even among his people. But we us ratchet jakes and all that. I'm not talking about that. That's why they got this tube to make our people believe that the ratchets is all we have of our people, or we're made of ratchet, disorderly people, and we don't come from that. That's why I said the Most High is our power. Yahweh is our power. So you got, this looks like the same woman, but yeah, you got plenty of, and there's plenty of videos that'll tell you. Talks about James 1:1, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shai, to the 12 who they ignorantly call Jesus or Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. And I don't need another scripture to say we are scattered among all the nations. And that's in Deuteronomy. Let me see. I think it says all the nations, but let me. Yeah. Among all nations. It's part of our curses. Deuteronomy 28:37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword, nigger, spick, spook, wetback. I forget the other one, a gringo, and so many others. Darky. It says, and among all nations where the Lord shall lead thee. And then it says, I will scatter you among the heathen. It's the same as pretty much these nations. So you got our people in those so-called, what they call Middle Eastern, which is basically West Asia, but we are the people of the East. That's why we face the East. When we go out there in highways and byways, we face the East. Adam was even planted in the east of the garden. So I looked up being Afro-Iranian in the midst of the war. So you got our people suffering over in other places too. The hell with this America, man. Our people are everywhere, and they suffering everywhere, going through the curses of everywhere, in every country. But this is a place that spews this so-called liberty, and our people are happy here because they got, especially our women, because they can exercise rights that are different from the Eastern world. They can exercise this Western ideology, and like that might be all her kids. See, that's a common thing too for women to have many kids over there. Over here, it's like, I don't want to. They don't even want to have one child. You got women, a lot of women out 30 years old plus, younger, whatever, but 30 years old plus that don't have children. So yeah, let's see. And, of course, if you know about the history, we fled into West Africa. There's still a lot of those places that still are people are scattered and still remain in those regional places. Of course, we were in Egypt. We served bondage in Egypt. Moses was in Egypt. Joseph, dark-skinned people. And then here you go. Here you got Libya and Niger and Mali, which is West Africa, Nigeria, Liberia, Leone, and maybe Morocco, Ghana. So over here you have Israel right in here, and this is old Babylon, Iraq, and you had these certain places, even places that you get up Turkey and Greece with Paul, where and then you had our people, portion of the 12 tribes, which is the northern kingdom. They asked help from Syria to go against Assyria. Syria being a sovereign state called state city, and city state. So that's why they asked help from Syria to go against the Assyrians. But the Assyrians put more pressure on them, more bondage and oppression. So, and I think Assyria should be right in here. But, we're going to be all up in here, man. Old Babylon, all up in here. And then fled from Roman persecution. And even when Jeroboam and Rehoboam, the two kingdoms, were at odds, when Jeroboam wanted to get from under Rehoboam, he fled to Egypt. Egypt was kind of like a, so to speak, safe haven when there was trouble in our own land, so to speak, or when we, that's why it says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and not ask of me. And plus we had dealings with Egypt, the pharaohs, and we had land and presence in Egypt. So, we have memories and old monumental presence in Egypt. But this is spiritual Egypt right now in America. So this is modern day Babylon right here in America. So, it's exercising its power after the beast. It's exercising its power after the Roman Empire. We call this the last leg of Rome. So, in like fashions, this American power system, conglomerate of these other nations, is like a powerhouse of it's a lot of common things of these other nations, and modeled after a lot of ways of these other nations. At least the power, they oppress us here today, and here in America. This is like a main captivity for us. But we do suffer also among these other nations, man. Look, I just read that the outcast of the forgotten race in Iran. So these Iranians hate us too, man. The real Iranians, they hate us too. The real Moab, they hate us. All these nations don't like us. They are our enemy. Second-hand enemy. The first-hand enemy is Esau. But they go right after him, man. That's why they're going to go into slavery. So our people are hurting. And then when they pass certain laws and exercise certain power against, America, against these other nations, a lot of our people suffer because we're in those nations. And it says, I looked up nationality because a lot of people don't believe that that has anything to do with race. As a fact, this is etymology. You know, we haven't been on there a while. We be going to the GPT chat and Google. But I still like the etymology. You know, that, apostle, starting with the apostle started all this stuff, man. The blue letter and the etymology and the research and finding different key points and keys to, prove the scriptures, even though, you know, like if you're blind, you're not going to be able to see it anyway if you're spiritually blind. But this is to feed the flock. So as a fact of belonging to or being a citizen of a particular state from 1828, gradually shading into race, ethnicity, meaning a racial or ethnic group, is by 1832. See? So, if you're scattered among the nations, you're scattered among other races of people. And you're going to be called different things, bywords. You're going to be called black. You're going to be called Moors. You're going to be called African American, Afro American. The pictures I showed you, everybody doesn't have an afro, but that's a term because of the afro. And it's a statement, I guess, too, along how our people set means of importance and that is a part of the culture or validation of our culture. We have certain elements of our identity that we express. And even in America, it has become Black power and Black pride, but that's not a nationality. It's they made it an identity, but it's not. It's really not an identity. It's really not a nationality, man. Your nationality should be your identity. So, yeah, I didn't want to make this long, and you could find that in anywhere, like I said, put in Afro, China, Afro, Mexico, Afro, so whatever you want to put Afro in front of it, or maybe you can put Black sometimes, and they'll pop up. Our people will pop up, man. And see, this is along the lines of how people really supposed to dress, women especially, having dresses, But this America is a do as thou will, rebellious ass America. That's why Most High gonna destroy America. Rebellious ass America and rebellious. You see how rebellious our women are. Talking about 2/3 women, they're rebellious as hell because of they learn from the best America. They learn from the harlot America. What are our women mostly into? Harlotry today. You can see that in the music industry. You can see that in everyday life, selling themselves, prostitution, all that. And they learned from the best, the harlot America. But go amongst these other nations, you still suffer and you find no ease, because it said that you find no ease among all these nations. But you still, and it's because you're not a people. But, certain things that these nations do, I mean, they're not perfect, of course, far from perfect, but they do exercise along the lines of some factor of moralism, if you will. And that's why when they wage war, a lot of times they wage war in the name of religion, so to speak. Like they call out jihad, whatever. Or they say this is the Armageddon, which is supposed to be the great war, the big war, and it's supposed to be, on the lines of religious, or basically who's right or who's wrong. In America, they're completely wrong. They're completely backwards. This is like the new Byzantine Empire. But and our people are going to learn the hard way. Our people are going to wake up to the fact that they're cut short of of what they know about their own heritage and about their own people. And we extend beyond the borders. Oh, Most High said, and I'm gonna close out with this: we're gonna be as the stars of the. We're gonna be as the stars of the. Let me see. Sand of the sea. I'll say that. We should be like the stars, sand of the sea. So you can't number Israel, man. And that was a you would pay if you try to number Israel back then. It says Genesis 32:12, and thou sayest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So imagine our people, we connecting back with our people. I mean, everybody, like from one end of earth to the other in the kingdom, and we're going to be royal and on top, and no malice, no hate, no jealousy, no envy, no oppression, no poverty. Poverty is going to be royal. And imagine how many beautiful children we're going to have, and imagine how many beautiful wives we're going to have. Imagine how many beautiful brothers we're going to be able to spend eternity with. And with Yahweh Shai, we cut off from our parts. You know, the culture over here in America is not the most beautiful parts of the so-called Negro and even Latino Native American heritage as a people, as a nation. You know, you'll discover some. I mean, like we said, even beautiful women that extend across the world, you know, and they're so to speak captive, or they, you know, they desire a home, they desire to be set free and liberated, some level of form, fashion. So, you know, we're almost home, and but yeah, Jake, you got to open your mind, man. You know, that's why we said, and a lot of those German women, we be saying like, yeah, get a, you know, Edomite woman, get a German. Some of them are Jakes. You got Afro-Germans, and that look like Edomite women. So what about them? Anyway, you know, we definitely are in hell and cut off from our parts. You know, where there should be no ratchetness that we have to deal with as men. There should be no rebellion, no ill will that we would have to deal with as men amongst each other and from women, you know. And that's the beauty that we're missing. I mean, a part of the beauty that we're missing. So anyway, you know, we can go on and on, but yeah, that's Afro-Iranians, and there's a lot of us there and all across the world, and what they do in Iran affects our people. Our people are still there today. What America does to these countries affect our people. So you really still fucking with the apple of the Most High's eye, man. So anyway, shalom.